Welcome to Being a Successful Leader with Carl Welty. Carl is a leadership pioneer with years of challenging leadership and consulting experience. Here's Carl with some valuable insights, practical and proven methods for being a successful leader.
Greetings, Carl Welty here, your host for the podcast series, Being a Successful Leader. The intent of the series is to provide you, the leader, with valuable insights and practical and proven know-how regarding leadership. The series revolves around my 3 leadership principles. First one being a self-aware and skillful leader. Leadership starts with you, and you need to have a firm grip on what you stand for and just who you are and that sort of thing. So it starts there. And then we move out and we have we construct a sound strategy. Sound strategy being the identity, why we exist, your organization unit, and what you stand for, your core values. And then you set a direction, which consists of a translatable vision that you can drive off of to construct strategies and then resultant actions. So leadership begins with you, then a sound strategy, and then you need a culture of commitment. You need people to rally around that sound strategy where you all have shared aspirations. Organizational and individual aspirations align. And so you have that culture of commitment versus the culture of compliance. So those are the 3. Leadership begins with you, a sound strategy, and then a culture of commitment. The resources you have, in addition to talking about this, and I really like this combination, is that I have a book for each of these 3 leadership imperatives, and you can go to welty.com, my website, and scroll over to leadership resources, click on books, and you'll see the 3 previewed there, as well as how to order them through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or the publisher Owings Publishing. In addition to that, you have you can capture the past this one and then the other podcasts on the webtalkradio.net. You can access anytime you want to listen again or listen for the first time. So it makes a nice combination. Each of the episodes run from 50 to 30 minutes. And this is the last one. This is the 52nd of 52 episodes. And I really felt good about doing this. It helped me a lot. I hope it's beneficial to you. It allowed me to go deeper and wider into all these important topics, if you will, about leadership. So, again, it's been my pleasure, and I hope you benefit quite a bit from this. So in this final episode, kind of happy what happened here is I developed a little model. I call it Dimensions of Success. And what I want to do is to walk through that with you. And then you can also find this model on my website, again, welty.com, and over to Leadership Resources. This time, click on Models, and you'll see 4 models there, and this is one of the models. What I'd like to do is walk it through with you first, and then you can always go back and take a look at it. And maybe what would be most beneficial if you just take a piece of paper and maybe do it on a landscape kind of view there. And put 4 C's across the top, 4 titles, and you can take a few notes and then go back and get the full sheet of paper, if you will, off my website later on. But the 4 columns, and we'll add a 5th at the end here. The 4 columns, the 4 C's. Our first column is capability. And then as you move to the right, the second column is competence. Third column is character. And then the 4th column is connectivity. Capability, competence, character, connectivity. And then leave room for a 5th column, which we'll add at the end here. Okay, so what I want to do is just to walk through each of these with you. And it's not only, I think, kind of a neat model that can hopefully serve you well over time, but it really captures a lot of stuff. And it's a nice way to summarize a lot of what we talked about in this series. And so I like the idea. It's a neat model, and also as a way of summarizing all the great stuff we talked about. Okay, let's talk about each of these 5 columns. 4 you have listed, and then we'll add the 5th. Capability. Now, this is how you came on the planet. Again, we talked about these sorts of things. This is your core, the natural you, the your human host, if you will, and it's comprised of abilities, talents, your physical characteristics, your traits, and your temperament. Those are givens for you, your human host. And then the types of abilities, we could go on and on, I guess, but some of them that come to mind are your mental ability, your intelligence, and your cognitive ability, your physical ability, things like strength, speed, agility, coordination. There's athletic ability, there's artistic ability, mechanical ability, and gosh, I don't know how many more. And then you also have something called latent ability. Those are things you haven't even discovered yet. So that's capability. That's you. That's your core, if you will. The second of the four C's, as you move to the right and maybe make just a few notes on your paper there, is competence. How well you perform a particular task or combinations of tasks with your relevant knowledge and skills. And if you recall, I used a metaphor, which I like. I kind of invented this thing, and it stands up pretty good. And that's, I use a water glass or a tank, whatever a container of liquid, if you will. And let's just say it's a water glass. And the size of the container, the maximum volume is your ability. That's what you can do. That's your natural limit. Okay. And the water level or liquid level inside the water glass is your current knowledge or skill. And I like that analogy because, some of us have limited ability in certain areas or great ability in other areas. And so we can increase the skill in certain areas more than other areas where we have limited ability. And the skill, your knowledge and skill is developed by education, training, coaching, experience, and deliberate practice. Deliberate practice, I hit that real heavy during our series. That's practice with an outcome in mind, a standard in mind, not just going out there and I use the golf a lot, just whacking the ball, but you have to have a plan and really get feedback on what's happening there. So those are the ways you increase your skill. Now, your skill is ebbs and flows, does it not? In other words, you work on something and you increase your knowledge or skills. You haven't done it for a while, you get a little bit rusty and you have to hone your skills again, maybe do some more deliberate practice. So it goes back and forth. And the ability also, knowledge and skills ebbs and flows, but your ability over time, bad news here, diminishes. It could be due to age, injuries, disease, what have you. You can't probably run as fast as you used to, and some of us can't remember names as well as we used to, things like that. So the analogy holds up pretty good. The glass is fairly fixed, but it does diminish the ability over time. The skill again ebbs and flows. In terms of you being a successful leader, there's three. If you remember my three dimensions of organizational work, you need to hone your skills and knowledge in terms of the technical work that you lead or manage. And again, you'll never be maybe the crackerjack that you used to be when you're a full-time 100% technician, but you still need to keep your knowledge and skills honed so you can correctly manage and lead. So the three are your competence is keeping your knowledge and skills up in your technical work, enough to lead or manage it. Your management work, coordinating diverse activities to achieve desired results, and your leadership work, moving things forward. Okay, let's move to the character. So we have capability and then competence. Now, character also influences your success as well as your natural abilities, if you will, and competence. Character is how the world shows up for you. Remember, we talked a lot about what is going on, WIGO, I called it, and we used that in the structure interpretation model as we went along. So how the world shows up to you. There's three or several pieces here. One is the thinking and behavior based upon the natural you, your core. So how the world shows up to you, it's your core, just the way you're wired, and you're maybe very analytical or very dominant or slow pace, whatever it happens to be. So part about world shows up to you is just kind of how you're wired or natural you. But then there's the nurture you, and I call this the mental models. This is stuff we pick up along the way. They can be good or bad. These are your values, your beliefs, and your assumptions about what is going on. The natural you. So it's a combination of the nurtured you. It's a combination of the natural you and the nurtured you as to how the world currently shows up for you. And made a big point about if you want to maybe revise your mental models, that's a good thing to do. And that's part of the growth mindset, as we talked about, versus the fixed mindset. I know it all. What more is there to do? That's just me. I'm just set. Come on, get a grip. We can always improve and get better. And we can, I really like the idea of being flexible, not wishy-washy, but flexible, and revise your assumptions about what's going on based upon new realities and new knowledge and skills you get. And that's very, very important. So the other part is commitment in terms of your character. So the character is your natural you and the nurtured you, and commitment. Commitment, it's all about your determination, your courage, caring, your grit, your zeal, your willingness to be vulnerable, your perseverance, and all those sorts of things are important, as well as your competence in terms of being successful. It's not about how smart you are, your IQ. It's also your level of consciousness and your grit, your determination to do whatever you want to do, be whatever you want to be. And the last under character, besides the natural and the nurtured you and the commitment, is orientation. The orientation, and I plug very heavily about the orientation about the greater good versus a personal gainer there, or it's all about the greater good. And we talked about that in terms of effective leadership and the studies, the research, the evidence-based information we have that backs that up, that the true leaders are those who put the organization or the country or the greater good ahead of their own personal aggrandizement. Okay. So those are some of the key pieces of the character. So we have capability, competence, and character. And the last of the four, I have connectivity. So you have all this together now, and now you got to go out and interrelate, okay, with the world. And that's an important piece also. And I have, if you recall, three parts to this. One is what I call your level of consciousness. And again, what that's all about is that the degree to which you are aware of yourself and others, the degree to which you're aware of yourself and others, and use such awareness to enhance the capability, the quality of your communications and relationships. So the level of consciousness is the degree to which you're aware of yourself and others, and the degree to which you use that awareness to enhance the communications and relationships that you have regarding what is going on. So the first one is level of consciousness in terms of connectivity, being having a clean lens and getting to figure out just what's going on out there. The second is using constructive speaking and listening patterns to seek and understand, to seek to understand and be understood, using skillful communication patterns, if you will, to seek to understand others and to be understood yourself by others. So you have the level of consciousness, what is really going on there, and then your capability to speak and listen regarding that. And the third of the three under connectivity is behavioral flexibility. And this is that rubber band I talked about, is be able to, whatever your natural style might be, your behavioral style and that sort of thing, very directive, very analytical, very steady, whatever it might be, to be able to adapt to meet the behavior of others so that you can alter your behavior approach to be effective. If you tend to be kind of a thorough kind of individual, now you're dealing with somebody that's really bang, 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 bottom line, all that kind of stuff, maybe to bend a little bit, speed it up a little bit, and connect with them in their playing field, if you will. So those are the three: level of consciousness, listening constructively, or using constructive speaking and listening patterns, communication patterns, and behavioral flexibility. Okay, capability, competence, character, and connectivity. I really like that chart. And again, it sums up a lot of just what we've been talking about throughout this series. The fifth column, I promised you, is luck. Okay, a lot of it is just luck sometimes. Okay, no matter how, what your capability is, your competence, and how well you relate. And that's just part of nature. Okay, being in the right place at the right time, being connected, knowing people, that sort of thing. I like to call it cultivating serendipity. There are some things you can do once in a while to be at the right place at the right time, and then things may happen. I like to use the little example of the mud puddle theory. The kid loves to dive in mud puddles and get all with the boots and the raincoat and get all muddy and wet and everything. But sometimes the best thing to do is to stand on the curb and wait for that bus to come by with the mud puddle right in front, So you have to cultivate the mud puddle theory. It's there, but you've got to be willing and able to get there when the bus goes by. The mud puddle theory. Opportunity knocks, but you have to answer the door. Okay. So there you have it. Now, you can grab a copy of this model, just a single sheet of paper, by going again to wealthy.com, over to Leadership Resources, click on models, and you'll see 4 models, and this is one of them there. And I think it's a nice one that'll serve you very well. Great summary for our get-together, and not only a model, but also summarizing all the, I think, great stuff we've talked about. So there you have it. It's been my pleasure. I hope you really benefited from this. And again, the resources are there for you. This isn't the end. You got the books, you got the podcast you can go back and listen to. So it's all there. And my best of luck to you, my friends, okay? And you take care of yourself. Bye-bye.